We're going to see many different concepts. Again, a very famous concept of midah keneged midah, that everything that a person does, he gets exactly back what he deserves, right? So the goyim, they like to call it karma, but we have
divine retribution.
We have exactly. We call it not only divine retribution because it goes both ways, right? It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
So like we said in Masechet Sotah, the way that a person measures, this is how we measure him, right? So the story of Purim is really incredible because there are no miracles that are beyond nature. However, it's full of miracles, and therefore we can take those lessons and apply it to our lives to see how we ourselves are living miracles through the nature of Hashem. So one of the things that we see is that Aman, he went, and what did he want to do to Mordechai? He wanted to hang him, right? So basically, the story that everyone knows was that Haman was one of the chief advisors of Achashverosh, and Mordechai did not want to bow down to him. There are many different reasons. The Tosfot brings that maybe because he had Avodah Zarah on him. Other reasons is that he wanted everyone to bow down to him because he himself considered himself like a god, and therefore Mordechai did not do it. And what did Aman say was a fitting punishment? Like they say, you need to attack proportionately, right? Proportionate response. That's it. So what did he say? He said, okay, you know what? Since you didn't bow down to me, I'm going to wipe out all the Jews. Very good. So now we know that this was his decree. So one of the first things that he did is that he went and he put up the gallows to go and hang up Mordechai. Right, and we see in the story what happened. There was exactly the opposite. The same gallows that he put for Mordechai, that's where he was hung. Then we see another case like this in the Megillah, where it's written that he wanted to issue a decree to kill out all the Jewish people, and then not only the Jewish people were not killed, but it was actually the opposite, and that the Jewish people went and had permission to go and wipe out all the enemies. It was a special day, and that was the day of the 13th of Adar, where we went and there was a war. Yeah, you can go and everyone was evil to the Jewish people. All the Amalekim, they were all wiped out. So it was exactly the opposite. And there's a saying. It says we say in the Tefillah every day. It says El nikamot Hashem, El nikamot Ufiyah. So it says that there are two types of vengeance, right? So the first type of vengeance is a vengeance where you're able to go and escape from your enemy, and you don't have the bad things that your enemy wanted for you. So for example, the Jewish people, when they escaped Egypt, we were able to go to freedom. So that's the first type of nikama, the first type of vengeance. But the other vengeance is what? Is that not only did we get out and we got riches and we got everything great, our enemies suffered and they had to go and pay for what they did. Right? Because this is the complete, let's say, so to speak, vengeance, in the sense that where justice comes in. Right, because the vengeance here in that case is justice, because Hashem is making it. So the first step is that not only we have it good, but also our enemies are going to pay for what they did. Right. So it's like le'avdil, for example, those Hamas terrorists, those monsters. So now, okay, B'ezrat Hashem, all the Chatufim, they should come home, all the soldiers should be safe, everyone is good, and they leave us alone. So it's not enough. It's not enough, and not only it's not enough, is that Hashem is not going to let it slide, and therefore each person that were involved in this will get exactly what they deserve. And like we see in the story of Aman, that Aman, the same way he wanted to annihilate the Jewish people, we went and we annihilated a lot of people that were wanted to do horrible things to us. Then we see another thing is that Haman, he wanted to go and he wanted to get honors, and he wanted Mordechai to walk him all over the town and say, look, this is Aman, this is what we have to do to someone that we have to honor, right? And this is what it says, Mordechai yatzem lifnei hamelech belebush malchut v'atiret zarav. Then he went out, and it was exactly the opposite, because Achashverosh he asked Haman, he told him, Haman, tell me something, because he woke up in the morning, he woke up in the middle of the night, and he opened up the books. And he opened up the page. What page did he open? What page did he open? Exactly the page where it says that Mordechai saved his life. There were two advisors of the king that wanted to plot against him, and he saved his life. So in the middle of the night, when Haman is plotting to kill Mordechai, there's a thought that goes inside of Achashverosh's head to open up the book of remembrance, and he opens it up. What does he see? He sees Mordechai that saved him. So he said, so he went to Haman. So he checks. He said, "Well, we didn't do anything to honor this man, Mordechai." So he said to Haman, what should we do to someone that the king really wants to honor and give his kavod and make him something special? So Haman, he was sure it was for him. He was dancing. He was like, "Wow, it's for me." So he said, "Oh, you should do this, you should do that, and make sure that you give him a crown and you put him nice clothing and you give him a nice horse so he can ride all across town." So then what did Achashverosh tell him? He said, "Very, very good. Make sure to do all this and do not miss one thing of what you asked. Do it for Mordechai." And again, we see midah keneged midah. We see exactly what he wanted to do. He wanted to do to the Jewish people. This is what was done to him. He got it the exact opposite. Then if we go on in the parasha itself, we see in the Megillah itself, we see that Haman, another midah keneged midah, Haman, he wanted Mordechai to bow down to him, right? Mm-hmm. And Mordechai didn't bow down to him. But at the end, when it was at the Mishte, that Haman was at the Mishte with Esther and Achashverosh, he had to go and bow down for his life to Esther. Right? So again, he wanted other people to bow down to him. Now he's the one bowing down for his life. And it goes along the way. Even in the time of that Haman, he got rid of Vashti. Right, he decided to get rid of Vashti, and then the fact that Esther went and it was inside the Mishte. So Esther came, and it was also in the Mishte where we got rid of where she got rid of him. So we see, and also one more thing very important is also the Pur. Right, what does Pur mean? Purim is mean lottery. Right, Hashem Pur. Why are we talking about lottery? It's because Haman, what did he do? He played bingo. He went. And boom, the date fell out. The 13th of Adar, this is the day he decided to wipe out all the Jewish people. And exactly on that day was the exact opposite that happened, like we explained before, that we went and we wiped out all our enemies. So there's a lot of lessons that we see in the Megillah. So the first thing we see, the Hashgacha of Hashem, that Kadosh Baruch Hu is planning things ahead. The whole story of Purim was 9 years. It was not 1 year. So it was the time that he did the Mishte, he became king. He did the Mishte. He got with Esther, and then Mordechai did something for the king. But it was not everything at once. But it's just Hashem made that everything falls into pieces. That all the horrible decree will be turned. So one thing that we see is the Hashgacha of Hashem, and this is a lesson for us that even for ourselves in our own lives. Sometimes people say, "Oh, what does Hashem really care in my life? Is Hashem really involved in my life? What does He care? What if I do?" Like they say, if I turn on a light, it changes something. It does. Why? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu because for us, since it will be so difficult to take care of so many things and so many people, so for us, we limit ourselves to say that there is no purpose into it, right? And not only there's no purpose, that it doesn't really impact anything. But for HaKadosh Baruch Hu that knows everything, is in charge of everything, and He cares about us and He loves us, then for Him, every action that we do is important. And this is why when the Jewish people were suffering from all this, what did they do? Did they go and join the army? No, they didn't. What did they do? They cried out to Hashem. Now, of course, you need to have a strong and good army, and we saw that they went and fought. But at the same time, if you don't have Hashem, you have nothing. Right, so it's like it doesn't.
An army, but if they're not tzaddikim, that's not going to help them.
Exactly, and that's the truth, right? So it's not to go and put down anybody, but without this idea, like the story of the Maccabim that we see in the time of Hanukkah was all this whole thing. We had a few, right? Yehuda Maccabi. You had a few that went and destroyed the Yevanim. How come? Because it's Hashem. If Hashem is with you, everything you do, it works. You have 10 bullets, the 10 bullets work.
You throw dirt, it turns the arrows.
Yeah, everything works. Yeah. But when the other side tries to do anything against you, nothing works. Le téléphone marche pas, there's this, there's that. So this is one very important thing that we see. And the other thing is that all those miracles were done with nature. And we have to know a very important concept, that Hashem does not like to do anything against nature. Why?
Why? It's because if he does that, then it takes away from the test that we're supposed to believe in him. Because if now there's clear proof that he's here, now it's not really a test. If there's no proof and we don't know, it's much harder to do his work. And it's much more of a merit.
So very good point. This is also true. So I wanted to bring another point. Why? I wanted to bring another point on this subject. Is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he created the laws of nature. So
it's already a miracle.
So the fact that he has to go against the laws of nature automatically makes it that he goes against what he already said. This is how the world has to work.
Yeah.
If a person jumps off a building, he has to die. This is the way Hashem made it the world. That you have to be. You cannot just do what you want. Okay, I decide to jump. Okay, here's no. So Hashem wants the laws of nature to be followed. He wants that if someone's not going to be careful with his life, that bad things can happen to him. He wants that if someone not going to be, if someone's going to do certain things, that he's not going to be unlimited to be able to do what he wants. And therefore, Hashem is the one who created the laws of nature. And therefore, for Hashem to go against his own laws that he created, it's exactly. And this is why it's very limited and very few times. And that's what we see in the times of the.
Even Hashem can't
Not that he can't, but he
no,
doesn't
you
want
won't
to.
even he respects his own.
Yeah, he's the own laws that he said. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And that's why Rabbi Shalom Mesas, he wrote in a tshuva about this. He said that as much as a person can, whenever he reads, even the Gemara, whenever he reads something, as much as he can attribute it to in a natural way, this is how he should read it. He should not go right away to the side of thinking, oh, this right away it was a miracle beyond the teva. Of course, it's a miracle, right? There's a million things. The miracles. Having a baby is a miracle. There's no explanation. It comes and it's the right size. What if What if a baby had to come? He has to be 30 pounds instead of.
And how come the head could squeeze through and then it's fine, but if we squeeze it again, it's not fine?
Exactly. So
it's a miracle.
So, of course, it's miracles after miracles. So a person just has to open his eyes and see it. And also, one more thing with miracles is that it's only a miracle. The difference between nature that Hashem created and a miracle is only the frequency. Understand? If I tell you now, you put a woman and a man together, and then you have a present coming, you're not going to say, you can put water inside a cup, and then you wait, and nothing's going to happen. So exactly, so nothing's going to happen. But the thing is that since we're already used to the fact that when a man and woman go together, they have a baby, for us, it's normal. It's normal because we're so used to seeing that this should be normal.
Yeah.
So to go back to this point is that HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not want to do things that go against the nature, and this is why nowadays we don't see open miracles as much. Why? Because in the time of Egypt, Hashem made all the open miracles. Because this was the time where the Jewish people had to believe in Hashem and they had to go and accept the Torah, and we had to change our whole lives. It was not just you show up and you were in Egypt. What do you mean I was in Egypt? I was in. This was really the time to show all the miracles. No, it was two things. It was for us, and it was to show his love and affection for us, that he goes against the laws of the world that he put to go and punish the Mitzrayim, and it was also to show the world. That's why Amalek, we hate him so much, Amalek, and that's why there's a mitzvah to wipe him out. Why? Because Amalek was the first one who went and he attacked the Jewish people. He saw everything. He knew everything. We already explained many times how all the goyim was never a goy who even doubted that. Even that's what we said. The Christians, the Muslims, never doubted. There was no one who can come and claim. That's what they saw. Even they told their children, what they saw. But Amalek went. He said, "I don't care. I'm going to go and attack." And that's why it says that one mockery, a joke, and that's why you have to be very careful. And you have to surround yourself with good people. Why? Because one mockery, one joke can take away 100 shiurim. Right? You went 100 times for a shiur, 100 weeks in a row, and wow, you're so pumped. You're like, wow, I'm now going to do this mitzvah. I'm going to wash my hands good. I'm going to bake the challah for Shabbat. What a bracha. And you're gonna think of all those mitzvahs that you're doing, and then you're going to see one lefty. He's going to come and tell you, oh wow, you really think it changes something? Or you turn on a light on Shabbat, and up, and he's gonna make fun. So now this guy is the definition is Amalek. Why? Because it doesn't matter what he's going to do. There's the truth of Hashem. The truth of Hashem does not change. But the fact that he goes and makes a mockery out of it, it goes and even in you, it destroys 100 shiurim. 100 times that you heard a tochacha, you heard a musar, that you know something to build you up. Then by this one joke. And that's why a person has to be careful not to surround himself with people that not only if they don't share the same values, but not only that, if they are mockers, they make fun of things. They're not going to take things seriously, and they're gonna go and make fun of let's say the mitzvot or the good actions that you do, and therefore these people are considered like Amalek, and this is what Amalek did. And this is why there's no real teshuvah for what they did, because the second that you break the fence, then the fence is broken. So anyone who wants to come and be a lefty, they can come be a lefty, right? So this is the idea behind it. So we have this concept also of Amalek, and the inyan of Aman is that also he was Aman Agagi. He also comes from Amalek. Now we have a big question, and it's very interesting, is that Amalek, they're still allowed to convert.
Yeah, and if they convert, they're safe.
If they convert, they're safe. And even the Rambam says that if they go and they ask for peace, meaning that they look for a peaceful way, then you don't have to go and wage war against them. So it's very interesting how it works with them. There's other nations that you will not be allowed even to make any peace treaty with them. For example, Ammon and Moab. So we see that even though there's this, they still have a tzad that they can convert. And it says that the grandchildren of Haman were actually learning Ibn Brak. So they say, I don't understand, how can he learn Ibn Brak? So I heard a very nice answer. The Rab was saying that the fact that Aman made that the Jewish people all went back to become of doing tshuva, right? Mm-hmm. They all went back to do tshuva. Therefore, in a way, he's responsible for people doing tshuva.
Yeah, he has a merit.
He's the antagonist, but he's the one. He has a certain merit in there, and therefore, this is why it explains that his grandchildren had a school to be they converted, and they were learning in Bnei Brak. So we see that the whole reason why there was a whole miracle of Purim was only because of Teshuvah, and therefore a person has to be very careful and he has to know when a person is going to pray to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, he's going to pray for certain things. It can be anything. Let's say a person wants to be closer to Hashem, wants to be better in doing certain mitzvot, he wants to have another job, he wants to make more money, he wants to. It can be anything, right? He wants his family member to be, to be better with them, to have shalom. It can be anything. A person is going to pray and he's going to believe that Hashem can help him. Hashem will go and help him. And now it says that there's never a bracha, like we said a few times, that you can never have a tefillah that doesn't have at least a certain part answered. Meaning there's no tefillah that go in vain. So for example, it says about Moshe Rabbeinu that when he prayed, Hashem told him you're not allowed to see or enter the land, but when he prayed to Hashem went, he went and he saw the land of Israel. So we said, so we see from there, at least 50% of your tefillah gets exactly like we see with Moshe, because Moshe was categoric, no. Yeah. But at the end, he was able to see, even though he was not allowed to enter, he was able to see the land. So what do we see from here? We see that a person has an obligation towards HaKadosh Baruch Hu when he sees that, especially when he sees that things are bad, right? When things are bad, he has to do teshuvah, because he has to understand that his own actions are causing a lot of the trouble for Am Yisrael. And this is why when all the Jewish people did teshuvah, they were all able to be saved. And therefore, like it says, we're all we're all responsible one for each other. And therefore, a Jew is going to say, "Oh, what does it change for me? How can I help in Eretz Yisrael? You want to help the soldiers, you want to help the hostages, you want to help everybody. You have to take on yourself another mitzvah. You have to be better. You have to be a better person. You have to take care of your parents. You have to go and give tzedakah. You have to be a good human being, and you have to do it because Hashem asked you. Not because, you learned in a book, or it's a good thing to honor your parents, or it's a good thing to be honest, or you're scared of the police. No, because Hashem asked you. And a person, just if he has this thought in his head that he's doing things because HaKadosh Baruch Hu asked him to do it, this is where he gets a mitzvah. So a person, for example, eats matzot every day, right? So let's say someone every day of the year eats matzot. Now all of a sudden, it's false. It was Pesach. Did he fulfill the mitzvah? No. Didn't do the mitzvah. Why? But he ate matzot. What do you mean? Because Hashem does not care about robots. Hashem doesn't care about the action being done. He cares about the thought beyond the action. Of course, you need to do the action, but the action comes with a thought, right? Because if Hashem was just interested that there's it would make 2,000 robots, program them, AI. They do the tefillah better than us. They do everything better than us. So why wouldn't Hashem do it? Because it's not about the quantity; it's about the quality. Yeah. This is what Hashem is seeking, and therefore we ourselves always have to look in ourselves, do a cheshbon. Now in my life, where am I getting better? Am I going to go to Yom Kippur the same person as I was? Now in the Smat Adar, I see my brothers and sisters in Eretz Yisrael. What can I do? Can I take Shabbat earlier? Can I be more careful? Can I learn the halachot of Shabbat? Can I be more careful with this? Can I be more careful with that? And therefore, a person will go and make those efforts. Not only will have a tremendous reward in this world, but also in the next world. And I want to finish with this idea of the Rambam. The Rambam was saying, it says at the end of Masechet Makot, it says, Rabbi Chanina ben Akasha Omer, Ratza HaKadosh Baruch Hu lidakot et Israel. So Rabbi Chanina ben Akasha, he says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu wanted to give merit to the Jewish people, Lefichach, Irba lahem Torah mitzvot. And therefore, he increased for them a lot of Torah and mitzvot, so because of his righteousness, and so that we can we can make the Torah beautiful and great. So so now there's a big question on this verse, is that why is it that Hashem had to give us so many mitzvot? So it explains that Hashem wanted to give us merit. So the more opportunities that we have to do mitzvot, the more opportunities we have to have olam haba. And it says that if a person does one mitzvah in his life very, very well, then just through this mitzvah, he's going to be able to get olam haba. And we have a proof from there, and we have a proof that the midat rachamim, right? So, and that's also very important, especially when we see horrible things on the news, and we see Yaakov Chaim.
He's fully attentive.
That's it. Voilà.
He's usually so sleepy.
So something very important, and it's very difficult to see, especially when you read the news, especially in the rate that we're seeing it today, and everything that happens. You have to know that the midat rachamim is 500 times superior to the midat hadin. How do we know this? We have a proof. It says, "Notzeh chesed la'alafim," right? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives chesed to the thousands of generations, right? But it says that when Hashem punishes, it says to the third or fourth generation. So what do we learn from there? We learn that Hashem, what's thousands of generations? What's the minimum of 1,000?
25,000 years.
No, what's the minimum of thousands? Let's say I say thousands. The minimum is 2,000.
Yeah.
Right? So thousands of generations, so 2,000 generations. And then what's the maximum between 3 and 4 generations of punishment?
4.
Okay. So you have 4 generations that are being punished if the parents did an avera. So up to 4 generations get punished for this sin. And for the righteous, so let's say Avraham Avinu, 2,000 generations minimum get blessed. And if you do the ratio, it's 1 on 500. And the Gemara says, we learn from there that the midat harachamim is 500 times superior than the midat hadin, than the judgment. And therefore, we see that in any situation, as bad as it looks, horrible as it looks, this is by far the best case scenario possible that could have happened. And it's crazy because then when you only see black when you hear the news sometimes, but you have to know that from all the scenarios possible that was possible at hand, this was the least amount of, let's say, casualties, of problems, that was the best case scenario in the situation, right? And like we said many times, that there's the part of Hashem being our Father and the part of Hashem being our God. So now in this time of Adar, there's a big mitzvah to be happy. Hashem is very interested in us to be happy. It's asur to be sad. You should know that. And if you're sad, it's an expression of ungratefulness, because that means all the millions of things that you have. I'm not even talking about money-wise, just personally, just as a body, a functioning body.
You could go to the bathroom.
You should dancing. This is dancing. You know what a root canal is? Root canal. Let's say you're done, 3 weeks. Yeah. I'll tell you a story. My wife, My wife, she had a toothache on Shabbat. It was horrible. And now she didn't know what to do. Right after Shabbat, we said maybe we're going to go to the emergency. Okay, so we called Mike Levy. He said, "Oh, I'm not in town. Maybe you can call this doctor." So we called him, and Baruch Hashem, he was able to see my wife that night, Saturday night, 9:30 p.m. He opened up his office, and he took her. I needed a root canal, and in less than 1 hour, she was able to come home and with no more pain. So the pain was horrible. It could be weeks, 2 weeks, and you cannot function with this pain. You cannot eat, you cannot drink. So now a big thank you to Hashem that there was when you see that the doctor's going to take you Saturday night. Oh, Hashem, we don't even know this doctor. You should be blessed with Hashem. And also another point, just to say, Mikam Cha Yisrael. Everyone knows that when you see a Jew, it's not the same thing. When you see a Jew, automatically he's your brother. You know exactly. You know what you can do and what you can't do. You cannot ask. You cannot ask someone else. Please take me at 10 o'clock at night, Saturday night. And then he opens up his office. So Baruch Hashem, we have to be grateful for that. Now let's do some halachot of Purim. So on Purim we have 4 mitzvot. There's an obligation for men and women to listen to the Megillah in the morning and at night. So what do you do if you can't do it? Meaning you can't go together because you have the baby. So you should alternate. So you come and you sit with the baby, and then she goes, and then you listen. What? No, the babies don't have to. They only have to when they get much older. Even when they're
at least like 6 or
6, 7, 8. No, because even when they're 3, 4. If they're going to make a lot of disturbance or even they're going to disturb, it's not good to bring them at all. Right? It's not
we learned that in the
exactly.
Right? You think conscience.
No, right, but also he's going to make noise, he's going to disturb people, so you cannot have him there.
Exactly. You have to understand the importance of it, then that's when you can really listen to it.
Okay, now some of the halachot, you have to make sure that you listen to the whole Megillah, so it's good to get close to the Chazan. You also have to make sure that in the morning you do the 3 other mitzvot. You cannot do the mitzvot at night. So the 3 other mitzvot are Mishloach Manot. Mishloach Manot is men. No. We cannot do the mitzvah at night.
We always did it during the day.
So the woman has to give to women, and men have to give to men. Right. So even though now it's a very joyous occasion and everything is happy and everything, it's very, very important to always keep the laws of modesty. Right. A person can never go and breach a fence. The Torah already put us the fences that are beautiful, and a person to never fall in cheating, in any other things that leads on. Right. It never starts off with. Just the cheating. It's hi, how are you? Texting, let's go get a drink, and So this is also part. If you bring a mishloach manot, of course, this is totally inappropriate. So a woman should only give to a woman, and a man should only give to men. And the mitzvah is to give 2 types of food that are already cooked, and it's okay if it's the same bracha. Some people are mistaken; they think if it's the same bracha, it doesn't work. Even I asked Dayan Abi Yitzchak Berdugo if 2 types of candies work. He says it works because it's 2 different tastes. No bias. No, I'm kidding. So anyways, so this is the second mitzvah of Mishloach Manot, Ish Le'Re'u, right? Because the whole idea is to bring on friendship, Achdut, be loving each other, loving the Jewish people, especially people that you have a rift with, right? Let's say that in your family, you have some friends, or you have someone, even if it's one person in particular that that it didn't go so well this year. So this is Dafka, the biggest mitzvah, to go and send him, and they will be very happy to receive it, and also to get closer ties, right? Because there's nothing better for a father to see his sons being together and loving each other. The other mitzvah is Matanat Le'Evyonim. It's also a mitzvah for both men and women, and you need to give 2 meals, the value of 2 meals to 2 poor people. Okay? So for example, they say that each person, I don't know if they say $10, $15, $20 per Matanat Le'Evyonim. So let's say there's 4. So let's say 2 for you and 2 for your wife. So then you would have to pay this amount. It's very important to make sure to have this amount paid during Purim, because this amount has to be given to a poor person. It's also very important not to give it to a yeshiva or to give it to to any organization because you do not fulfill the mitzvah. The way you fulfill the mitzvah, it has to be given to
an
a poor person.
individual,
So no,
okay.
but usually, let's say you go to yeshiva, you go to Chabad, any place where you go. Usually, the rabbi will make sure to give this money to a poor person that day. So this would be allowed. But just to go on their website and give a donation, this would not work.
What if it like there's a website that they put up that it's like meant for that, where they
Right,
collect the funds for that?
So this would work,
Okay.
but they have to specify that they're going to give it on that day.
Okay.
Because the whole idea is to give it on that day. If they're going to take the money and not give it the next day and give it after Shabbat, it's not going to work. Then, so we say Matan Levanim. Then the fourth mitzvah you have is the Mishteh. So there's an obligation to be very happy on Purim. It's asur to work. So Baruch Hashem, we won't have this problem now because of the baby, but you should not work. And it says anyone who works on Purim will never see a sign of blessing. You know, and I can tell you that sometimes you can see that people actually worked on Purim or on Tisha B'Av, and really there's no blessing in the money. So what does this mean? This means that let's say they received $500 from doing what they were doing, and they got a ticket somewhere, they got a problem, you know, so they don't have this money, was not able to make anything out of it. Okay, then for the mishteh, so it's good to drink wine, to have meat, actual meat is better than to only have a chicken or poultry, so it's good to buy actual meat. And this year, since it's going to fall on Shabbat, there is a difference of opinion. The majority of opinion holds, the majority of Jews, is what they do. They do the mishteh in the morning, and they finish before Chatzot. So let's say before 1:30, right? Because they don't want to be too late. Because you want to honor Shabbat. Because there's two things: you want to honor the Shabbat to make sure that you'll have a appetite for Shabbat, and also you're not supposed to start a meal after Chatzot, after Shabbat, right? So this should not be done, and also have time to prepare to honor Shabbat. So therefore, most opinion hold that you should do it in the morning. There are some opinions, including
Mishteh is not on Friday night.
No, Mishteh is Friday morning, like midi, let's say.
Right. Also, something else. The Mishteh is always during the day. It's never at night.
Yeah, always.
So
tonight is just an extra celebration that they do. It's not.
No, so you
necessary.
can start. No, so that's why. Let's say in a regular year where it falls during the week, you have to make sure to start the Mishteh during the day, and most of the Mishteh has to be eaten. Not you just add bread and then you miss out on the Mishteh, right? So you need to make most of the Mishteh during the day, and then it can go on during the night. There's a Moroccan custom. Not everyone goes by it, but it's still a Moroccan custom, and there are some opinions, but it's a minority opinion, to go and do the mishteh before Shabbat, and to cover the table and continue on to cover the table when the time of Shabbat comes. You do the kiddush, and then you continue eating after.
Yeah, but you gotta pray in between, no?
No, well, Arvit, you can either do it in the middle of the meal or after the meal, depending. Usually after the meal, because if you already started the seudah before the time of Arvit, then you're allowed to finish your seudah. Right. So this would be a
rule. Would it be a problem when you mix up with the alcohol? Like if let's say someone is drunk and you can't pray as properly.
No, right. So exactly. So maybe you have to wait a little later. But then this is an issue that you always have. That person also has to.
No, but I'm saying because now it's a mitzvah to drink, right? So people.
No, but even during the day, it's a mitzvah to drink. So and then they start to do Arvit.
No, I know, but at least if you drink, let's say at 12, then you have a good 7 hours to sober up. But if let's say you do the whole you continue to mishteh all day, you keep drinking and drinking, you're never getting yourself time to sober up.
Right, Chazal, good question. Well, like we said, each person according to what he can take. Everyone knows themselves, how much alcohol they can take, so they have to be careful with that. Of course, a person has to pray with his head and with intention. So this is for the Mishnah this year. Those are the 4 mitzvot a person has an obligation to do. Why are women also obligated? Like we said, is that a woman was also part of the miracle, because usually the women are not obligated in mitzvot shadman grama, right? Because Hashem, he knows
time-related
mitzvot. Hashem knows now you have to take care of Yaakov. You have to take Yaakov Chaim. So you don't have time to go to Shachit 7 a.m. Right? So what do? So Hashem went and exempted women from any time-bound mitzvot. However, whenever she is related to this mitzvah, or it was a miracle that was done also for her, then she has to be. She's going to be obligated.
Chazak, wow.
Chazak. Any questions?
Je vais